विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल जमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
It is now my privilege to request the Honorable President of India to unveil the inauguration plaque of the Unified Academic Campus.
Excellency, the Honorable President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, Your Excellency, the Honorable Governor of West Bengal, Shri Keshari Nath Tripathi, Honorable Minister of Science, Technology, Earth Sciences, Forest, Environment and Climate Change, Dr. Vardhan, Honorable Minister of State, Shri Chaudhary, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Shri Sharma, Acting Director of Bose Institute, Professor Siddhartha Roy, former Director and Senior Professor Shivaji Raha, and the main force behind this wonderful centenary building, members of my council, my dear students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and acting registrar Professor Shri, members of the faculty, my dear students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as has been already mentioned, it is a glorious and historic day, and I am so glad and grateful that the Honorable President is with us. It is 100 years since Bose Institute was founded at the height of Bengal Renaissance. Many events have taken place in these 100 years, with many ups and downs. The first, it is here in this institute that the genius of Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose flourished. Having discovered millimeter wave in Presidency College, he devoted his time and plans and behavioral pattern with amazingly sophisticated equipment at that time. His kindred spirit and a great friend, one of the greatest poets of this land, Rabindranath Tagore, inspired each other with science and his glorious philosophy. That inspiration, I do believe, still lingers. It is difficult to say what the next 100 years will have to offer to us, but I'm sure it will be equally glorious. With the presence of our celebrated President, one of the most learned man and leader of our country, I'm sure our students and the faculty will be inspired and bring back the great glory and the ideals with which Bose was founded. I wish you all great success and glory. Thank you.
Honorable President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, Honorable Governor of West Bengal, Shri Keshari Nath Tripathi ji, my senior colleague Dr. Vardhan ji, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Professor Vikas Sinha, Professor Siddharth Roy, Professor Shivaji Raha, Professor Samir Ranjan Sikdar. I am delighted to be part of this momentous occasion when this 100 years of old Bose Institute is entering a new phase with the inauguration of this unified campus. Bose Institute has made seminal contribution to the science and evolution of the way we do science in India. Speakers who spoke ahead of me have furnished a detailed account of its journey. All that I wish to mention here is that it is fitting tribute to Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose, one of the proudest sons of our country. I am delighted to know that in its centenary year, Bose Institute is launching new interdisciplinary programs for advanced scientific research. I am told that it is unique of its kind in the country in the areas of synthetic biology and complex systems. I may also mention that Bose Institute is actively participating in scientifically important international collaborative mega experimental project in high energy particle physics at CERN Geneva and GSL Fair at Darmstadt, Germany. In view of the growing research activities of the Institute, an additional campus known as Centenary Campus was built at Kankurchi, Calcutta on the occasion of the birth centenary of Acharya Bose. At present, the research activities of Bose Institute are spread over the original campus as well as the Centenary Campus, along with at all small buildings at Salklate, Sector 5. There are also a few experimental field stations at Falta, Madhyamgram, Shyamnagar and Darjeeling. But it can be well realized that with the research activities spread over different campuses, there was an ever-increasing pressure on the growing infrastructure requirements, with functional logistics difficulties of managing the different campuses in a coherent way. Further, with the parallel research activities pursued in different campuses, there were a number of unavoidable duplication of very expensive scientific research instruments. Given all these compelling reasons, it is greatly satisfying that the unified campus has now been realized. I gather that by taking into account the projected expansion of the Institute, this campus is expected to serve the needs of the Institute for many more years to go. I congratulate Bose Institute for the creation of this impressive edifice, promising to provide modern state-of-the-art research facilities of international standards for our future generation. It is my ardent hope that the present and future generations of scientists at Bose Institute will take full advantage of this wonderful opportunity in the service of the nation. Thank you and Jai Hind.
His Excellency, Honorable President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee ji, His Excellency Governor of West Bengal, Honorable Shri Keshari Nath Tripathi ji, my distinguished colleague in the Science and Technology Ministry, Shri Y.S. Chaudhary, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Professor Vikas Sinha, the Emeritus Scientist from INSA, Professor Shivaji Raha, Senior Professor and former Director of this prestigious Bose Institute, Professor Siddharth Rao, Officiating Director of Bose Institute, Professor Samir Ranjan Sikdar, all the distinguished scientists present here in this august gathering, dear research fellows, students, distinguished guests, friends from the media. Friends, good evening. I am very happy to be present at this historic occasion while Bose Institute is beginning a fresh journey on its centenary year with the inauguration of its unified campus. Bose Institute occupies a unique position in the landscape of Indian science, having been founded by none other than our great Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose. The Acharya was not only the first to initiate modern scientific research in India, he had also founded Bose Institute as the first full-fledged research institute in the country, if not all of Asia. Bose was a pioneer in the true sense of the word. Although he was the first to demonstrate wireless transmission of microwaves as early as 1895, well ahead of Marconi's work on transmission of radio waves, Bose was denied a Nobel Prize. In fact, one of the ingenious detectors Bose had designed for the detection of waves was used by G. Marconi for his Nobel Prize winning wireless transmission of radio waves across the Atlantic. But Bose was not duly recognized for it. In this context, I fondly remember when I was fascinated to find out while visiting the J.C. Bose Museum at Bose Institute that the grandson of G. Marconi, the astrophysicist Professor Francesco Parsi, after visiting Bose Institute, had written in the visitor's book, "This is a wonderful experience for me, since Sir J.C. Bose actually performed the first wireless experiment before that of my grandfather, Guglielmo Marconi." In spite of all his achievements, the scientific career of J.C. Bose was one of incessant struggles. His innovative designing and fabrication of scientific instruments were all achieved almost without any institutional support, and his research efforts were frowned upon by colonial rulers, with numerous obstacles being put in his path. Over the years, he therefore felt a pressing need to establish an institute totally devoted towards scientific research. It is indeed remarkable that the initial idea for Bose Institute germinated through interactions between Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose, Swami Vivekananda and Sister Nivedita. And later Sister Nivedita helped to organize a substantial financial support through Mrs. Sarah Champan Bull, who was a disciple of Swami Vivekananda. Supports were also provided by other great personalities like Shri Rabindranath Tagore, Gokhale and Mahatma Gandhi. And given such a rich history, the establishment of Bose Institute is truly a testament to the glorious spirit of Indian Renaissance of that period that encapsulated a wonderful symbiosis between science, humanities and spirituality, which needs to be rekindled again in full measure in today's India. Here I may recall the words of Acharya Bose from the address given at the 8th anniversary of the founding of Bose Institute. Although science is neither of the East nor of the West, but international in its universality, yet India, by her habit of mind and inherited gifts handed down from generation to generation, is specially fitted to make great contributions in the furtherance of scientific knowledge. It is with this stupendous nationalistic fervor that Bose Institute was set up, and thus the scientists working at the Bose Institute have a tremendous responsibility of living up to it. Of course, over the last 100 years, a number of significant contributions have been made by the scientists at the Bose Institute in various areas of biological and physical sciences. In particular, I must mention the not yet well recognized great physicist D.M. Bose, who had initiated the research on cosmic ray and nuclear physics in India through his research endeavors at Bose Institute, and had pioneered the method of studying cosmic ray particles using photographic plates that enabled the discovery of a new fundamental particle of nature, now called pi meson. This contribution was profusely acknowledged by C.F. Powell, who ultimately got the Nobel Prize for this discovery. In fact, it is only because of the non-availability of full-tone photographic plates in India at that time Bose could not determine the mass of pi meson accurately enough and thus missed the Nobel Prize by a whisker. Similar mention must be made of the medical scientist S.N. Day, who did his crucial research studies at the laboratories of this prestigious Bose Institute that led to a deeper understanding of the action of bacterial toxin and its pathogenesis, that in turn had a multitude of fundamental and therapeutic implications. At the same time, it is also noteworthy that apart from scientific research, Bose Institute has been actively developing social outreach programs in rural Bengal through rural biotechnology programs and has been pursuing educational upliftment programs for school children from various parts of northeast India. And it is indeed encouraging that as part of its centenary celebration, Bose Institute is making special efforts to intensify and broaden the activities in these two programs, like extending the rural biotechnology program across the entire state of Bengal, as well as embellishing the educational upliftment program for the school children from all states of northeast India at its Darjeeling campus with innovative teacher training programs and the setting up of a dedicated nodal center that would facilitate extending this program to entire eastern India. I also gather that in this centenary year, Bose Institute is embarking upon expanding in a significant way the J.C. Bose Museum in its original campus in order to highlight the major achievements of Indian science starting from the ancient era. This is a wonderful effort, and I am sure that such an expanded museum on the history of Indian science in the context of the research contributions of J.C. Bose and the scientists of the Bose Institute has a rich potential to play an extremely important role in promoting public awareness of science by relating to the Indian context, a dire need in contemporary India, and would be a fitting tribute to J.C. Bose, who had passionately contributed towards spreading public awareness of science by his wide range of popular writings, public speeches, and was even first one in India to write a science fiction story. Now, with the beginning of the functioning of this unified campus that brings together scientists working at different campuses, thereby facilitating more intra-institutional interactions cutting across biological and physical sciences and infrastructural developments required to be associated with top-notch modern laboratories would provide a glorious opportunities to the scientists of the Bose Institute to explore in full measure the emerging frontiers of scientific research at the highest international level, so as to make the next 100 years of this institute substantially more fruitful. My best wishes to the Bose Institute in this onward journey towards fulfilling the vision of its legendary founder and proving itself worthy of this glorious inheritance. Friends, finally I have to thank on behalf of all of you our respected Honorable President of India, who we know is one of the most distinguished intellectuals of this country, and we always had the privilege of enjoying his blessings, good wishes, advice, guidance all through, and this is a very, very prestigious moment for this institute which has completed 100 years now. Sir J.C. Bose and the inauguration of this institute being done by at the hands of one of the most illustrious sons of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee. It's a matter of privilege for us. Sir, we extend our heartfelt greetings to you and of course our greatest gratitude to you, and we'll always remember your blessings today for this institution. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Honorable Governor of West Bengal, Shri Keshari Nath Tripathi, Dr. Vardhan, Union Minister of Science, Technology, Art Sciences, Shri Y.S. Chaudhary, Humanities, Science and Technology and Art Science Department, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary to the Government of India, Department of Science and Technology, Professor Vikas Sinha, Professor Siddharth Rao, Professor Shivaji Raha, Professor Shomir Ranjan Sikdar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a privilege for me to be present amidst you this evening for the formal inauguration of the new campus, where different disciplines of these 100-year-old institutions will have enough space to dedicate their energy and efforts for modern research, and it will provide the necessary infrastructural advantages required by them. Established 100 years ago, while Professor J.C. Bose, the founder, dedicated this institution, the first of its kind in India, fully devoted towards scientific research to the service of the nation. He made a profound proclamation, which I quote, "I dedicate today this institute not merely a laboratory, but a temple," unquote. Truly it became the temple of knowledge, innovation, research, and scientific pursuit of knowledge. At the initial stage, it was blessed by all the distinguished personalities of the country at that time. Rabindranath Tagore expressed his desire in few lines when he invited all scholars, innovators, researchers, ordinary workers, by inviting them, বিশ্ববিদ্যা তীর্থ প্রাঙ্গণ করো সমুজ্জ্বল করো হে। Mahatma Gandhi, H.R. Gokhale, Swami Vivekananda, Sister Nivedita, all of them blessed this institution and encouraged Professor Jagdish Bose to have launched this institute for scientific research and also to become a temple of new awakening, renaissance. And when we just entered into the last phase of our 190 years old struggle against the colonial rule, remember, it was at the end of the First World War, before launching Gandhiji's total non-cooperation in 1920, this institution was established. And it was very aptly pointed out by Professor Jagdish Chandra Bose when he observed, and I quote again a few lines, "To pursue further and fuller investigation of the many and ever-opening problems of life and non-life, to associate the advancement of knowledge with the widest possible civic and public diffusion of it, and this without any academic limitations, and there will be assembled all those who would seek oneness amidst the mankind." Searching of this oneness was one of the great contribution of the Indian culture and civilization, which began from many millennia ago, and still it is to be pursued, to find oneness amidst varieties, to identify them, not to ignore it, but to celebrate amidst the huge diversity which we have. These were indeed prophetic words coming from the man whose words were the harbinger of the pursuit of seamless science and interdisciplinary scientific research, not only in this country, but outside. And in this endeavor, as I mentioned, he received the support, cooperation of all outstanding personalities of the then India. However, the growing research activities of the institute, which was established in the then Circular Road, now Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Road, found its constraints, and therefore in course of time many locations were opened from time to time. At present, the main research activities of Bose institutes are spread over the original campus at Acharya, I am mistaken, not Jagdish Bose, but Acharya Prafulla Chandra Rai Road, as well as Centenary campus at Kakurgachi, along with a small building at Salt Lake. I am also told that there are a few experimental field stations in Falta, Muddhamgram, Shamnagar, and that area. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, over the years, the acute need was felt to bring together all the scientists working in different campuses within a unified single campus. This was considered imperative to satisfy the rigorous requirements of adequate infrastructural support for advanced research laboratories. It was also felt necessary to foster closer interactions and fruitful exchanges of ideas amongst the scientists working in this institute on a range of cutting-edge research fields in biological, physical, and environmental sciences. I remember the project of a unified campus was launched with the laying of foundation stones on 2nd June 2012 by Dr. Mukherjee, and I had the privilege of physically being present on that occasion, being the then Finance Minister of India. And I am indeed very happy and pleased, consider myself to be privileged to have the opportunity of inaugurating the project for which foundation stone was laid 5 years ago. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today with the inauguration of this new campus, Bose Institute is embarking upon a fresh phase in its historic journey. More so, befitting as the Institute celebrates its centenary this year. I am told that the series of international conferences, visits and lectures by eminent scientists, including Nobel laureates, are planned to celebrate this milestone. At the same time, the Institute also seeks to chart a new course with the launching of a number of new research and social outreach programs. Taking into account the project's expansion of the institution, this campus is expected to serve the needs for the coming years. But this has not been an easy journey. Scientists at the Bose Institutes have been striving for the past 100 years to redeem the vision set forth by its illustrious founder. I am extremely proud to mention two of the most noteworthy contributions emanating from the Bose Institute: the pioneering of cosmic ray and nuclear physics research in India by Professor Dr. D.M. Bose, whose work paved the way for the Nobel Prize winning discovery of a new elementary particle called Pi mission. And the seminal work, unraveling the mechanism of the action of cholera toxin by Dr. Desande, which was nominated for the Nobel Prize more than once. I have no doubt many more such scientific researchers and activities will go on in this institution. It is also most appropriate that in order to honor the historic legacy of Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose, the Institute is launching its centenary year, 2 cutting-edge interdisciplinary research programs in synthetic and system biology and in complex systems that would aim to become leading research programs in these areas in the world. Furthermore, since Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose was passionately committed to promoting the public awareness of science, the Bose Institute has launched this year a project to create the history of Indian science galleries by renovating and expanding the J.C. Bose Museum housed in the original campus of this institute. I am happy to know that in order to realize the dream of Jagadish Chandra Bose for elevating the institute to the level of university, the Bose Institute has taken the initiative towards converting itself into a deemed-to-be university in postgraduate science disciplines. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to mention that given the constraint of available land, in a densely populated metropolis like Calcutta, striking a proper balance between aesthetics and the requirements of a modern scientific research institute at the international level is indeed a formidable task. And for successfully attempting to accomplish this feat, I congratulate all those involved in this massive project, including the management of the Bose Institute. In coming years, I have no doubt, Bose Institute will reach to new higher scales in the pursuit of scientific accomplishments, pursuit of knowledge, and creating the atmosphere where the art of finding oneness amidst diversities would be the central and focus points. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.